Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Easy Mountain Podcast.
Relief is in the trees, it grows easy like the breeze, flowing from the fountain, high upon Easy Mountain. Yay.
We are stoked because we have Caleb Schwien on today.
What's up, guys?
You know him, you love him. He's got millions of followers on Instagram.
You might know him. You might.
He's definitely one of my favorite people, so I'm
Up
stoked.
there.
You guys are one of my favorites too.
I've been saying this for at least a decade, I think, but best bartender in Springfield.
Oh, hands down, dude.
I'd say probably 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah, absolutely. Nowadays, back hurts. I forget things, and then it's a little different these days behind that bar.
I see the glimmer in your eye. You still got it.
It's fun. I enjoy it. I really do. Yeah, I did it for 10 years at Friends Karaoke, and then
Slang a lot of drinks, dude.
Yeah, slang a lot of drinks.
Yeah.
And but yeah, jump behind there these days. Things are different. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's okay. It's supposed to change. You
Of
know?
course. Yeah. Time for a new generation. Absolutely.
You're not behind the bar anymore, but you still own a bar, so that's really cool.
Yeah, went from bartending to owning a bar, multiple bars within one facility. Yes.
That's crazy, dude. Yeah, if you guys haven't been to Classics Complex and seen what Caleb and his family are building, it is really cool. Because like he said, it's a. Why don't you you're gonna explain it way better than me.
Yeah, for sure. So if you guys have been to, so we have Classic Rock Coffee. So Classic Rock Coffee, there's one here in Republic actually,
Great.
all throughout the world. So the Classic Rock Coffee in Springfield off of Sunset Street was the original headquarters of Classic Rock Coffee. They built all the franchising all throughout the world there, and they had a shipping department in the back, 10,000 square feet of warehouse space.
All the beans.
The roaster.
You gotta have the beans.
That's right.
Got to store the beans somewhere. I
All
remember
throughout the
that.
world.
It smelled great back there.
Yeah, it was amazing. We made some people a little mad moving that out of there just because of smell. But hey,
the smell.
yeah, exactly. But so we came in, and the attraction that brought me in, my brother, wife, and father originally was the backspace, and turning that into an interactive new bar for Springfield that we haven't had. Growing up here, me and Alex grew up together here, and going out in our 20s, and
Not a whole lot of options.
not a whole lot of options other than sit at a bar. Go
How
to a
drunk do you
karaoke
want to
bar.
get?
Yeah, for sure. Let's just get plastered and make fun of each other.
You guys want to do some more shots?
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. We had to. There was nothing else to do.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
we travel to Kansas City, St. Louis, go to Chicken
All
and
the
Pickle,
time.
Westport Social. And so just going down, I was coming down an escalator in Vegas one time with a buddy of mine, and just coming down to all this interactive play with, that was a bar. It was kind of a cool take on of what a bar could be. So we brought that to, that had been a vision of mine working through friends.
Yeah.
And just growing up here. And we finally found the space to do it once the old owner put it up for sale on Facebook. And had
That's wild, dude. What a crazy, huge business to buy off of Facebook.
Dude,
Marketplace finds. Always be
real.
scrolling on
Checking
Marketplace.
that as soon as you wake up in the morning.
Real, yeah. Tips for your entrepreneur.
So this anyway.
Which parking lot did you meet him in to buy it?
But anyway, the original owner, amazing guy, Kent Morrison, put it up for sale on Facebook, and this was just the riff, which I haven't got into yet. But anyway, so we go tour this place, and turns out they have 10,000 square feet of warehouse space, and
Perfect.
And we're like, man, we could put some pickleball courts in here. We could put I can get into the list of games we have, but anyway, it's just an interactive play with 2 pickleball courts, golf simulator, full length cornhole, Connect 4 basketball with a full bar, full restaurant, building a patio now. Then you transition into the next room, which is the Riff side, which Drew's very familiar with, and Alex as well.
Of course, dude. The Riff is awesome. I've been to a lot of my most favorite concerts lately there.
Yes.
It's a great room. I love the Riff.
The consensus in musicians in Springfield, it is the best stage to play on in town for sure. It's just got the most dynamic lighting, the best sound quality. The mezzanine adds extra depth to engaging with an audience.
The mezzanine is super cool. I love that.
It is
I
cool.
love it.
It adds a cool little visual, and we can't take any credit for that. Me and my brother, but the original owner built that out, and he just built that out to enjoy live music He enjoys classic rock, obviously, and just built out the riff to enjoy bringing in acts that he just loves seeing. Him and his kids. He's a family man, and he was fortunate enough just to build that out to have fun.
Yeah.
So we were fortunate enough to inherit that, not really have to do a whole lot of things other than make some tweaks here and there. But yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful room, and Springfield's, we're fortunate to have it and call it our own.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
So I mean, definitely, if you guys haven't been by, check it out. It's one of the cooler spots, but that's kind of what Caleb's into now. But there's a lot of background that's led up to Caleb to what he's doing now, and what he's working on now, and the projects and everything that's given you the skill set that you have now. So would love to dive into some of that and stuff like that.
Sure.
But start off, I mean, a lot of people know we've been boys for a long time. Caleb and I have known each other since I was 15 years old. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So literally half my life I've known this guy and considered him one of my absolute best friends. So very grateful to have you on the show today, and very grateful to have you as a peer in the industry. When your family was running MOJO, we were running Easy Mountain at the same time. We were both kind of like the local independents just outside of Springfield that people really wanted to support. You know what I mean?
Sure.
That's a really cool thing. And cannabis for you, probably much like me, I always thought it would be a cool industry to get into, but never really thought I'd make a career out of it. What was it like for you, getting into cannabis and realizing like, hey, I'm gonna switch from my family's bar that I've owned and ran for a long time, and then transition into an industry that's similar but also at the same time pretty different. What was that like?
For sure. Yeah, lots of points to address there. So going into it, I was bartending at Friends throughout college, making some money on the weekends while still had a clothing brand that I had started. I was able to do that during the day and make some money at night. So I was able to fulfill both ends. Through that, I met my wife, Kenna, believe it or not, at Friends Karaoke Pub. We had an idol contest where we would hire celebrity local judges to come in and judge these people on the
Didn't
idol
Drew
contest.
judge for that?
I was on the same
Yeah.
panel.
The same one.
I was on the
yeah.
same panel.
Perfect. He was
Could've
so
been a
Drew was there.
Totally different story.
So yeah,
You could have married Drew.
I would be fine with that too.
I think we'd be a great partnership.
I think so. Yeah.
Maybe in another
We could be a
life,
throuple,
guys.
Anyway.
Too many kids now.
Yeah, I feel that. So anyway, I met my wife there. She was a part of a country duo, amazing, talented, and I originally thought she was with this dude that she came in with to judge with. Turns out she was not.
Oh, nice.
I approached them in
Clear for takeoff.
After knowing, absolutely. So anyway, I approached her and wanted to sponsor her band with my clothing, and we went to Mudhouse Lounge for our meeting that quickly turned not a meeting and turned into a little date, and found out she was single, and I was somewhat single at the time, but quickly single after, and we made it work. So fast forward a little bit, we have a kiddo, and that's nightlife is very tough, as I'm sure.
I was there when Caleb found out he was going to be a dad, by the way.
That's facts.
Should we
That's
tell that story real
not
fast?
there when yeah, for sure. Definitely want to tell that story.
Not there when you made the kid, of
You
course.
might have been.
Nice
Who knows?
work.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
No, I think you did it. I think
But
she's
no,
pregnant.
funny take there. Don't let me forget. Don't let us forget to tell that story.
Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, so we have a kid. Obviously, nightlife is tough. Having a freshie on your hands, and
Totally.
So then my now in-laws, they come from, my father-in-law's been on oncology for his entire life. My mother-in-law's been in pharmacy. She's been a pharmacist for her whole life as well.
Both really smart, fantastic people.
Awesome
Very
people,
intelligent,
yeah.
very amazing people. So they, crazy enough, I already knew you guys had a license, and they called me one day. They called me in Canada, like, we want a license, and they came at it from an amazing standpoint of kind of like you guys. If cannabis is going to become a thing in Missouri, they want to do it right, and what way to do it right than offering some fully medical, medically trained oncology, seated from that side of the road there.
Yeah.
So they won a license, called me up, and Kenna's mom, my wife's mom, was like, you live nightlife, let's come help us out over here. So I was still bartending on the weekends over there, transitioned from full-time to part-time, and helped launch MOJO. And so that's kind of my end there. It wasn't really like I didn't seek out to like go get a license. Like I want to get into cannabis. Then I have a very different take on cannabis now than I did then. Just being in the industry and gaining lots of knowledge.
Yeah, how did your perspective change?
And with cannabis, all throughout college, it was more so just like, I was more so into drinking than smoking. And smoking, I always got, taking a super steaming dab with a bong. I'm like, I don't like cannabis.
You got to educate yourself before you wreck yourself.
Facts,
sure.
Facts, 100%. So I was, that was my take on cannabis. It was like, it's just a very overwhelming product, like that I only use to get super, super duper high. And we had conversations, me and you, of consumption and what it does for you. And
sure.
That led to me, where I am today, buying a Puffco and thoroughly enjoying just nice rosin.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Yeah. So
We should have brought a Puffco in here.
For sure.
That's
Dang
true.
it.
We dropped the ball. This is what it is.
What the hell?
You live and learn, right?
Yeah. Well, we live.
Somewhat.
So what's your relationship with cannabis like now?
Yeah, for sure. So I have an interesting take. I think everybody differs in their consumption of cannabis. I'm very different of with drinking. I won some awards of getting a DWI when I was younger, and but I learned a lesson. That I think that was a lesson I needed to learn. Is I've had some stuff happen all throughout my life that if it can happen, it will happen. And I'm thankful that nobody was hurt when I was drinking and driving when I was younger, being stupid. Sure. So I'm thankful that I got that, and thankful that was a wake up call for me to just, be careful with whatever you consume, or, do it in a safe environment. For me, for myself, it's, my consumption happens at night once the kiddos are in bed, wife's in bed, open the laptop back up, whether it's working on something creative, working on something business, going to hang up clothes, you name it. Just for me, it's a mind clear of, let's relax. Let's work on some spiritual, emotional things.
For sure.
Or business or something creative.
Yeah. I find it as that almost immediate perception shift that can sometimes be really good. Sometimes it's been a long day. It's time to change that mental perception a little bit and just not be so focused on all of the things that you've got to get done today, tomorrow, and the next week. But sometimes that perception shift can be not what your body's looking for, and that's where sometimes I think the anxiety can come in and stuff like that. So yeah, it's really good to just be super aware of that and why you're using and have some intentionality behind that. Because,
for sure.
Yeah, it just helps you get that result that you're trying to actually go for. And
yeah, we've talked about this. You talked about it on the last podcast with Josh, I believe, on how you took a break. Mm-hmm. It's just reminding yourself that in your body that you're in control. Yeah. So I'm on like a week break right now of smoking. Just, I saw myself reaching for it when I, just more so than I should be. Just like, this is my outlet to get into this type of, mind state. Yeah. So
I really, if it's to escape, I'm not okay with it. If it's to enhance, I'm great with it.
Of course.
Does that make sense? That's the way I try to look at it nowadays. And so, yeah. And unfortunately, as we just got to see Drew smoke the joint all by himself, I'm just dealing with some lung stuff right now. So I'm on the edible only diet. So I'm drinking a Keef Cola over here, enjoying it. But yeah, once
Drew's going to keep the podcast alive.
Oh, trust me, the streak will not be broken.
Followed up with Josh, with me, Josh Heinrich with me. So
yeah, it's all right.
It's okay.
It's all right. The world needs balance, right?
It does.
That's right.
And we can do it.
Different perspectives.
I've had my breaks, and I can see the benefit. I've not ever really gotten a routine of doing that, like it's been these times in my life where I haven't smoked for whatever amount of time. And I just think it's benefited like you said, the ability to decompress, like, and think about something from a different perspective.
For sure.
Is like, that's invaluable to me. Maybe the way my brain works, I need to change my perspective more often. But like when I was a young parent, like working in the car business, I was stressed, dude. Like I'd be so stressed getting home, and like,
what's stressful about the car business?
yeah.
Or being a young parent.
That's for an entirely different podcast, bro. But like I would come home super stressed, and I remember, other family styles that's oftentimes alleviated by having a drink. And for me as a young parent, I come home and smoke, like, not like in the living room. I'm not, not blowing smoke in their face or anything, but I'd, go to an appropriate place and I'd smoke, and all that weight would just be gone. Yeah. And then I could play with my kids, and it wasn't like there was none of that was brought into that room or that playtime. And so, I mean, I've always been obviously a believer in cannabis, but from a medicinal purpose, if you can function on it and it's improving your life and the lives of the people around you, then I don't see I can't see the harm in it.
For sure. No, not at all. Different strokes for different folks, you know?
Or just more strokes.
Or more strokes. Or more tokes.
More tokes, maybe. Yeah. I like that.
But I want to touch on our when we both found out that I was having a kid. I forget about that.
Yeah.
That's a pretty funny story, really.
It really is. It just shows, our relationship that we've had for a long time, and been there for a lot of things that have happened in our life together.
For sure. Yeah. That's definitely true. Do you want to tell her or do you want me to?
Go ahead. I'll let you
we'll
tell
jump
it.
in.
Yeah,
All right,
exactly.
Cool. So we're downtown. Caleb has always been super into fashion. He's always been very talented with fashion. I mean, like I said, I've known him since my early years in school and stuff like that. So Caleb's always had a knack for fashion. In college, Caleb, I guess it was just after college years, kind of for us. Caleb owned a clothing company through college, and after that, called Original Fears. Big supporter. I've always thought it was really cool. I've always thought
appreciate it.
The clothing is really cool, and the coolest thing in the world is when you have a friend that goes out there and does something that's hard and scary and risks something. You know what I mean? So support your friends that are trying to do something like that, whether it be a clothing project, a smoothie shop, whatever. Just go and support your friends that are doing small businesses. But Caleb had a clothing company that I was always a big fan of. Caleb so graciously asked me to model for him. So he must have not seen my hairline. But
we put a beanie on you.
Yeah. Damn, dude. Come on, man.
I'm just joshing.
But they did, though. I remember those pictures.
You might have been wearing a hat.
It was beanie.
Put a beanie on. That's funny.
I remember that.
No, Alex is always.
I know the shoot that happened that day. We'll see if I had a hat on.
I
think you do.
I think you
I
do.
probably do.
Yeah.
I'm about 90% sure.
It's all good, guys.
For sure.
It's all good, right?
I didn't ask you to wear a hat. That
No.
was on you.
I threw that shot. I can't be mad at anybody. I threw that shot.
They went hard.
But yeah, so we were at Caleb's apartment downtown getting ready to go do a photo shoot. And what was it, like the next week we were going to go to LA or something like that? So
we had a trip already booked to Los Angeles.
Yeah. Pretty stoked about that.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on the couch and I just like knock, and like we're about to walk out the door, and Caleb lived alone, and it was an apartment building. So we were both like, nobody should be here, right?
Yeah, weird.
And open the door, and it's McKenna. I don't remember. I think I opened the door. Did I open the door or did you?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I think I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then you could just immediately tell something was up, right? And she's just.
Oh, yeah.
Thankfully, they'd asked me to leave the room. I didn't sit there, and so I walked downstairs, and McKenna broke the news to Caleb. Obviously,
yeah, she did do that.
You're gonna be a papa.
Yep.
And I had no idea what was going on, and me and my immature self and my immature best friend, we have this stupid shit that we do to each other. So he's coming down, and I'm just waiting in the car, getting ready to go to this photo shoot, and
You're obviously anticipating, like, what did she say?
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, you're waiting to see what I say.
So I'm like giving him shit, and I'm just like, what's going on, dude? Thinking it's not going to be any big deal or whatever. And he's like, dude, she's pregnant. And I was just like, oh boy,
I should go.
No, you do not even say, oh boy. He says
this.
Your
This
first
is not
words
true.
were, so are we still going to L.A.? Like, Alex, give me a
Wait.
fucking second here.
Wait, is this kid
That's
going to
not
ruin our
true.
friendship already?
That's not true. Caleb says that, but that's not true. It was probably the second
It
thing I
might
said.
have been a 2-second pause. So
There
we're
was
still
at
going to
least
L.A., right?
a 2-second pause.
Yeah.
I was getting ready to go to LA with my best friend, and I knew as a guy with no kids in his 30s, all the guys out there with no kids in their 30s can relate to me. All of your friends have kids. So when you're another best friend, boom, well, he's gone. You're at least like, I'm getting in this last vacation. I know there's a few of you out there that feel me on that one. So
course.
just know that it's because I love you.
Of course.
There's nothing against Cruz, McKenna. I love them too. But I need my
course.
time with my boy, and we went to LA and we had a blast.
We did. It was the last hoorah, I needed that time too. So, yeah, we went. Kenna was fine. Obviously, I ran it by her. She was good with it. She's like, go have some fun, and, I'll bear
Make it
after
count
that.
because it's the last one.
That's right. Never, ever again will you leave this house.
Yeah, and so we're actually filming this in Caleb's house because he's not allowed to leave it anymore.
Kenna's standing right there. So, yeah, that was a story of that. And,
That was a pretty awesome time. I love telling people that because I think, like you said, it kind of just shows that like how tight we really are. You know what I mean?
For
and
sure.
like how many things that we've gone through in the day and stuff like that. And yeah, buddy, I love you, man. So it's
love you too, dude.
yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah. And shout out to Cruz. He's now 5 years old, thriving and alive. And he's,
Heck yeah, he's big bro now, dude.
yeah, big bro for sure.
So you got to.
So Cruz was a little bit of a surprise, but all blessings happen in different ways. And now fast forward, we have a 2-month-old little girl. So Cruz is now a big brother, turning 5, and we have a little Scarlett. She's 2 months old.
How's that? How's the new family of 4 life?
It's all the above. It's beautiful. It's shout out to McKenna, the wife. She's holding it down, staying up, and I work late nights at the bar and venue and all that, and she wakes up. She has to. I have to grind all day and all night. So she's amazing at getting up with the child and fulfilling that. And so I couldn't do it without her. But it's amazing. The jump. You're always asked, is it harder from 0 to 1 or 1 to 2? And the 0 to 1 was for me the hardest part. Just getting it's a whole new lifestyle. So
Yeah, Caleb was not at all in a fatherly routine previous to that.
I think some people would agree with that. Even Kenna would probably agree with that. I mean, she's
But quickly
Kenna's
whipped her
amazing.
into shape.
Of course, she put me into shape, and yeah, she's amazing. She's my balance for sure. But it's amazing. Cruz was used to being the only child for 4.5 years, and this last couple weeks have been just him just nonstop talking about her at preschool and loving on her, and it's been pretty cool to see. Pretty amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's
it's
awesome.
pretty beautiful.
Drew has 45 kids, I think. So, do you have any advice to Caleb as an additional new dad?
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting to see the balance act happen with 2 kids, right? And like you have one, like stability in your household. You've got great parents, right? So that's a recipe for success right there. But seeing a 5-year-old have so much love for their baby, it's like I'm adopted, and it's funny. There's no way you could ever control this, but like I had no perception that I was going to have a sibling. Right. There was no like, here's 9 months of like talking about it. And why is mommy's belly getting bigger? Like it was, hey, you got a sister now. But
At 3 o'clock today, you're going to have a sister.
She's getting delivered.
You're like, what?
Huh? What about all my stuff?
Yeah.
This is my show. And then a baby, like you can't compete with a baby.
No.
Babies win every time.
Of course.
And so like I know how transitional it is for a 5-year-old, right? Or like for just any other kid to suddenly be you're part of this team.
Yeah.
Right. And
now you got to help mommy and daddy.
Yeah, for sure.
And you got to set a good example, and you got to be brave for your sister. And, like, you can use it as such an awesome tool to, like, help them find this personal responsibility, because that's not them, right? They're responsible for this other thing. And so it's really cool. I mean, I'm sure that, like, that's a lot of fun, but it's just like any other time you teach a kid something. It's tougher than just doing it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And so you're already stressed and, like, sleep deprived, and you're, like, trying to include your 5-year-old in, like, a project that also you have to take care of a 2-month-old. There's a lot of balls to juggle. So I would just say, if you haven't figured out, I mean, you already said it, but for me, my method was increase your cannabis tolerance to a point of, you can just, it's fine. Like, no, it's cool, man. Like, you can knock that over. It's fine. No, that's fine. That's fine that you just turned a 5-minute project into an hour-long project because you just spilled talcum powder all over everything.
Or you just threw a Lego at your sister's head.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. That's great. That's good. Yeah. Way to help with that.
Yeah. So, yeah, good advice. Thank you.
But I guess really to summarize, whether you're getting stoned or not, the best thing is to have a sense of humor about all of it, right? Like, just like, don't, like, anytime you're frustrated, just to turn that into opportunity to make a joke, and everything should be okay.
Of course.
Yeah, man, those are good words for life.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
I try to always do that. Just, if you can lead with humor, it's so much easier. You know what I mean? It makes life so much easier.
Yeah,
Sets
take a step back, and got at the end of the day, you got a beautiful family that everyone's growing at their own pace, and yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
of course.
Speaking of growing, so we talked a little bit about the previous, the transition into MOJO and everything like that. Your family since sold MOJO, and you've transitioned to purchase a new business, and that's Classics Complex, like what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And so, talk to us a little bit about how long you've owned Classics and what you're really just trying to do with that business.
Yeah, so it was cool to be a part of. It was nice to be a part of. So, stepping into friends and bartending for my blood, bartending for my dad and stepmom, had its own perks and downs and ups, and it was nice for me to somewhat step into MOJO and create. I was a big additive in creating, like, what MOJO was to the public, to relationships, to buying, to it was a family business, but not so much. It's a little different working with the in-laws compared to your father. So it was nice for me to step outside of, like, the family business, into another business, but in-laws. So it was nice to have that take. I was able to do amazing things that I wanted to, and along with some other amazing, talented people to grow a brand. But at the end of the day, it wasn't, my name wasn't on the license. It wasn't my business. It was the in-laws and so it was nice to be able to build something that I've had a vision for, 7, 8+ years, building it, seeing it come to life, and just coming in every day. And it's like, man, be just like Easy Mount, like, you guys have done an amazing job here, and I'm sure every day it's just like, this is something that you guys envisioned for so long now. It's came to life, and you guys are killing it. So it's cool to see something that you've envisioned built and somewhat succeed in.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Very cool to call it your own, and that comes with a lot, behind it.
A lot of stress to be able to say that.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's worth it. You get to create a place that you'd want to work. Like when I see you interact with your staff, it's cool. You're joking around, having a good time. You got to be serious when you got to be serious, but you don't always have to be serious. You know what I mean? So
it's all about how you want to. Yeah, it's all about what you make it, and that's a cool thing. It's not, at the end of the day, it's your decision, and those decisions reflect your business and yourself.
Yeah.
But that's the cool part of it. You can craft it in the way that you see fit. You don't have to run it by anybody else other than your business partners.
Sure.
Which, of course, but it's not like I don't have to go up this ladder to get this approved or, XYZ.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So what is owning a business taught you about yourself and about life in general?
Oh boy, a loaded
You don't have to.
question.
You don't have to go on for hours because I know you probably could. But you know,
sure.
what do you think? I mean, I know owning a business has taught me a lot about how I interact with people, how you should leave a situation. You know, how you want to leave somebody, you know, filled up, and always kind of be giving to people where you can, and realizing how many opportunities in a day-to-day that you have to make an impact in somebody's life. You know, there's so many. So I know for me, owning a business has taught me a lot. It's taught me a lot about relationships and how, you know, how that's just one of the most important things in life is just the people that you surround yourself with, how quality that relationship is. You know what I mean? So,
Of course.
hopefully I didn't take all the words out of your mouth.
No, not at all. I think that was a great segue into what, you know, me and my brother, we're a year into owning it just ourselves. We bought out my father and stepmom of Classics. They had the monies to buy it out 3 years ago now, and it was always the game plan for us to buy them out. And you know, we made that purchase about a year ago now. So it's been a year of us, you know, we wanted it, we asked for it, we got it, and you know, that comes with a lot. You know, it's you know, it is a passion project, but you know, not everything is smiles and happy. This comes with a lot, but I think the relationship side, that's you know, that's been key. But the relationship with yourself, I mean, if you're not filling yourself up with things that fill you up, I mean, you're just going to crumble and not be able to carry on those relationships with your staff, with your vendors, with your customers. So I think the biggest part for me has been self growth all throughout. For me to be able to deal with the mental load of owning your own business and operating it as well.
Yeah, man, you're totally right. You know, the saying is cliche, but you can't pour from an empty cup. You know what I mean? So,
Facts, yeah.
Taking care of yourself and focusing on your health routine, focusing on what you're eating, when you're waking up, you know, drinking enough water, all that type of stuff is like, you know, it can kind of sound elementary at times, but if you're not doing those basic things, you're really not taking care. You're not giving yourself a shot. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And you're not going to be the best for the people around you. You're going to be a little bit quicker to maybe be off your emotions or whatever. And
yeah, I think the biggest point I think, you know, I was able to see it. Really, I was able to see you. Drew and I have always had a relationship, but being closer to you, I saw you go through the build of Easy Mountain, how much hard work and just grit you put into the place. I wasn't able to see it through Drew's lens. I was just able to be hand in hand with you and see you just grind 24/7. And I mean, you guys have both built this beautiful empire, but you know, with that comes a lot of mental load, and that can take it out on you physically, emotionally, and mentally, you know, all the above. So thankfully I was able to somewhat see that, you know, at your expense, you know, and of course you're better these days. You're
course,
9 times better, and you
I
realize
lost 40
that too.
pounds for those of you that don't know when I opened my business.
That's just what business.
Healthy in shape guy to being, you know, somebody that you'd look at and go, oh, that guy's not doing well. You know what I mean? And I was just stressing myself out.
Yeah, and that just comes from building business.
Yeah.
You know, and then the load it can take on you. So I was able to thankfully see that and realize, like, if you don't take care of yourself, then you know, nothing else is going to be able to get done.
Yeah. That's true, man.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, you got to take care of yourself, and you gotta pour into yourself, and you got to do it in the ways that sometimes even seem like, sometimes it's people think these things are self-care, you know, but the reality is that their self-care is actually really damaging for themselves, you know what I mean? And it's only putting themselves further off the path that they're trying to get back on, further off the path that they're trying to reward themselves back onto, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Medicinal crack.
Thank
really
you.
Like, you know,
that does it for you.
I mean, it's helping somebody somewhere. It's got to be
Treat yourself.
statistically, right? I mean, you'd have to think probably someone. at some point has improved their quality of their life, actually, by using crack cocaine.
Probably, yeah. Maybe
You know, and so how do you get through to that guy?
Let's get him on the
right?
podcast.
You got to start eating better. I don't think so. I'm doing great.
Yeah. Exactly.
What's your secret? Medicinal crack.
But that just taught me, you know, that taught me that you can work on your business 24/7, and you're always going to have the next thing to do. And so just taking, you know, of course you got to put in the work, but being able to take time to take care of yourself, take care of your relationships, and fill your cup from all, not just one.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, I know there was even a time where, you know, it's like you and I were in the same industry, but we wouldn't see each other for months or whatever, you know, and we were both head down doing our thing. And yeah, cool, man.
You want to talk about that for a minute? Just being in the industry from day one, you know, that's a pretty crazy. That was just a cool experience for us to kind of go through. We didn't talk every single day, but you know, we run some stuff by each other. I'd be like,
all the time.
I'm in Nixa, he's in Republic. Obviously, they have this amazing brand that they've built, and here I am, just like, these motherfuckers. they got this strand at this day. Like, I'm calling somebody on the phone, like, well, Easy Mountain has this. Why don't I not have it?
Yeah, every day. In the early years of the industry setting up, which I mean, to pioneer an industry is really cool. You know what I mean? So for all of us in the room, that's a pretty sweet experience. But for us, to be like childhood friends and to be like 15 minutes apart from each other, and like, as the industry's rolling out, like, trying to get flour, trying to get carts, trying to get all this all the product that now is, you know, we've got 600 SKUs on the shelf, and, you know, to think about not having flour is insane.
And the beginning inventory, like first week inventory.
What did you guys open with? We opened with 7 SKUs, I think.
So we were among some of the first to open in the Southwest, but we launched with just Clover products.
Yeah, same with us. Yeah.
So we get, you know, I think it was like Keef and like some pre-rolls, and maybe like, what was it, like
Wana.
It's Wana gummies.
I think Wana,
and Robust.
Robots,
right?
You know?
Yeah, that's robots.
I think they pronounce them Rob Hots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate when people say that.
We had 3
definitely
flavors.
robots.
3 flavors of Wana, 3 flavors of robots.
And some pre-rolls.
Pre-rolls occasionally.
Yeah.
We had a pre-roll.
The Keef drinks would go by. They were 100 milligrams in a bottle.
Yep.
They would go by so fast.
Yes. So we
that day, because we got 24 of them usually.
They'd be gone.
So we would get the delivery. I would send out a message to our customers, and we'd be done within a couple hours. And it's just like, well, we gotta wait till the next shipment, you know.
And you're getting weekly shipments, right?
Yeah, weekly shipments at that point, from one vendor. So it was crazy time to be alive, but super cool, you know.
It was awesome.
Yeah. It was
to think about
crazy
being
times.
to think about, like, you know, for you guys always forever, Nick is never not going to have a dispensary, you know, if not handful down the road, you know, when it continues to grow into the city that it's growing into. You know, you guys will forever be the first people to like legally sold weed there. You know what I mean? Which is pretty cool.
And you guys too. Like, that's pretty crazy to say. I got asked by one sales rep one day. He's like, "Do you ever feel like, you ever have like imposter syndrome doing this?" I'm like, at that time, it's like, no. We've started. We pioneered the industry here in Missouri, along with some other incredible
lucky
humans.
you, bro. I've had imposter syndrome this whole time.
No, shut up. Not with cannabis. Not with cannabis. You haven't. You guys kill it. There's no way.
Thanks.
But in so many other aspects of my life, I do. But that was like a crazy moment for me to realize, like, no, I really, really don't. You know, because we were some of the first ones to do it.
Yeah.
Which is cool to say.
For sure.
It is. I mean, it's been a blast and a dream. Like, it's surreal still to think, because it was a long shot, right? I remember when I was first having these conversations, you know, in the mid 2000s with people, like in bars somewhere, and be like, "Well, they're going to legalize weed here. They're never going to legalize weed here." Like, you know, it was a dream. The people did not think it was going to happen.
Absolutely.
The Midwest, Bible Belt, no way, it's never going to happen here.
Yeah.
And I remember saying, "Yes, it will." I was a dreamer. I was a believer, and I followed through with it. You know, I got the opportunity.
I believe you willed it to happen.
Yeah, I smoked enough weed for it to happen.
Yeah.
You manifested, right?
I
You just thought
skewed
about
the
it.
market and I made it happen. I created a black hole
Yeah, and so
of weed smoking gravity.
in a state that people thought it'll never happen, we now have the strongest cannabis market in the country.
Dude.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy. Seriously.
And you guys, I mean, shout out to you two and the team of Easy Mountain. I mean, you guys, you guys know better than I do, but there's 1 or 2, 3 handful of independents in.
Yeah.
That's-
I don't
that's
know
just-
the exact number, but I can only think of like 2 or 3.
Dude,
So
yeah,
I
and
don't-
that's so-
they could have been bought out last week. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
So props to you guys. That's
Thanks, man.
amazing. You know,
Yeah.
it's hard to compete with buying power of multiple stores, whether they're really vertically
impossible,
integrated.
yeah.
It's nearly impossible. You guys have done it and do a great job of it.
Thank you, man.
because you guys have built your own empire here.
Well, of course, you know, people have obviously tried to take us off our track of owning Easy Mountain, but that's not, you know, what else would we go do? Like Drew said, it's a dream.
Yeah.
What else would we do?
Surreal,
Dude, we
man.
have the most fun. We get to
Awesome
work
people.
with people we love.
Like,
We get to do a thing we love. We get to represent a brand that's fucking sweet.
yeah.
What else would we do?
Fact.
All the weed you can eat.
Yeah, all the weed you can eat. I don't know, man. I haven't eaten anything but chocolate bars for dinner in years.
Yeah.
Well, you look good.
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah,
Thank you.
for sure.
No.
But yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, it's a dream you guys thought of or acting out, and it's super cool to see. So I admire you guys for everything you guys have done here.
Thanks, man.
Thank
We
you.
want the dream's still going. Like there's more surrealism ahead of us. I
That's
think.
right.
You know.
There is. Well, the dream is still going, but the podcast is winding down. And at the last thing we'd like to do is offer Caleb a very special gift.
Yeah. New dad.
boy.
No one was going to do this
Easter
for you.
is around the corner, so we hope you have a very happy Easter.
I love it. Thank
We got you an Easter basket.
You're going
We
fishing.
got Josh
I love
Heinrich's
it.
Valentine's candy.
love
So
it.
the next guest better buy a cool holiday.
I don't know. It's supposed to be 4th of July.
Fireworks.
Fireworks.
Shout out Easy Mountain.
Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
Love you,
Love
buddy.
you. Love you.
Relief is in the trees, it grows easy like the breeze, flowing from the fountain high upon Easy Mountain.